So, ladies and gentlemen, your basic 1 hour episode of television could run between 42 and 44 real minutes in an hour. But this lasted 38 minutes. As a kid, I did an essay on this for a high school paper in grade 10. It's called the Anglo-Zanzibar War. Now, African politics were very, very complicated in the late 19th century, early 20th century. But this conflict between the UK and the Zanzibar Sultanate, or Sultanate, lasted between 38 and 45 minutes. This is a true story. Some people say 38 and some say 45. Again, depending on when the white flag went up. It marked it as the shortest recorded war in history. The immediate cause of the conflict was the death of the pro-British Sultan Hamad bin Thuniwani on the 29th of August, 1896, and the subsequent succession of Sultan Khalid bin Bagahash. The British authorities preferred Hamud bin Muhammad, who was more favorable to British interests as Sultan. In an agreement on the 14th of June, 1890, instigating a British protectorate over Zanzibar, a candidate for accession to Sultanate could obtain the permission of the British Council, and Khalid had not fulfilled this requirement. The British considered this as a casus belli and sent an ultimatum to Khalid, demanding that he order his forces to stand down and leave the palace. In response, Khalid called up his palace guard and barricaded himself inside the palace. The ultimatum expired at 9 a.m. local time on the 27th of August, by which time the British had gathered 2 cruisers, 3 gunboats, 150 Marines and sailors, and 900 Zanzibari in the harbor area. The Royal Navy contingent were under the command of Rear Admiral Harry Rawson, and the pro-Anglo-Zanzibars were commanded by Brigadier General Lloyd Matthews of the Zanzibar Army, who was also the first minister of Zanzibar. Around 2,800 Zanzibari defended the palace, as most were recruited from the civilian population. Now, according to reports at the time, they were paid off, but they also included the Sultan's palace guard and several hundred of his servants and slaves, so it was around maybe 3,400. Defenders had several artillery pieces and machine guns, which were set in front of the palace, sighted at the British ships. A bombardment opened at 9:02, 2 minutes after start of war, set the palace on fire and disabled the defending artillery. A small naval action took place, with the British sinking the Zanzibari royal yacht HHS Glasgow and 2 smaller vessels. Some shots were also fired ineffectually at the pro-British Zanzibari troops as they approached the palace. Now, after all of this, the flag of the palace was shot down and fire ceased at 9:46 a.m. Now, the Sultan forces sustained roughly 500 casualties, while only 1 British sailor was injured. Sultan Khalid received asylum in the German consulate before escaping to what was then German East Africa in the mainland part of present Tanzania. The British quickly placed Sultan Hamud in power at the end of a puppet government. The war marked the end of the Zanzibar Sultanate as a sovereign state and the start of a period of the heavy British influence. Now, let's just look at it again. Now, again, either it stopped at 37 minutes local time, or 37 minutes, 30 seconds. Some people say 48. British victory. Again, Rear Admiral Harry Rawson and Lloyd Matthews leading the Brits, with Khalid bin Bagahash and Captain Salah for the Zanzibarians. Now, the UK had 1,050 troops, 2 cruisers, 3 gunboats, while the Zanzibari, the Sultanate, had 2,800 troops, 4 artillery pieces, 1 shore battery, HHS Glasgow, the royal yacht, and 2 boats. And the casualties, 1 British sailor wounded, 500 killed and wounded on the Zanzibarian side, 1 shore battery was destroyed, and the HHS Glasgow was sunk. Now, this is called within history texts as the battle for, or the scramble for Africa. Now, just as the recount, the islands of Zanzibar are close to what was then German East Africa, just below British East Africa. So it was a very small part of Africa, or what I call, not say South Africa, but Southwest Africa. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what did we learn in high school about this? Well, you never take on the Brits in a naval battle. That's pretty well it. So there is comic books and documentaries on this. And if you want to check those out on YouTube, please do so. So that's the story of the short Anglo-Zanzibar War. Give peace a chance. Bye.